Hello? Hi? Hello, is it working better now?
Hello, is it working better now?
Yeah, there we go. Something went wrong. Sure did. Oh, goodness. Don't give me this. Don't give me this. Come on. Right. Well, I'm going to have to watch chat off my phone because I can't get it on the side for some reason. This will be interesting. Hi, welcome back. I fixed the microphone. It just deleted my entire microphone entirely. I couldn't get it back. Yeah. Um, I have my phone propped up now because while now the microphone and audio works, the chat on the side of my stream no longer works on my computer, so I have to watch in from my phone. That's why there's two viewers because the other one's me because I have the stream pulled up for chat. So we'll see how this goes. I don't want to get into too deep of stuff right away in case Finch decides to join us as well. But I hope you're enjoying the recent chapter. I've kind of got a different method on how to write it, and it seems to be working out pretty well. See, normally what I would do is I would do like bullet points, like I want this to happen, and then this to happen, and then this to happen, and then I would just kind of like build out from there. But with the last chapter specifically, there was a lot of like talking going on. So what I did is I wrote out like all the dialogue, like just what they were talking, and then I kind of branched around that, and that I actually wrote like I wrote the last chapter like really fast. Like I had like several days where I didn't have to do anything just because I knocked it all out right away. So I will probably experiment more with that. I feel like the dialogue was actually pretty good in the last chapter. So yeah, seeing that I'm yeah. I mean, it's the easiest way to like get down. Okay, so here's A, B, and C. Like those are the main things, and then you gotta like just write through them. And I mean, I still do that, but like, yeah, but taking the bullet points from there, and then after that, I did all the dialogue, and then I just wrote around it. And I don't know. I'm experimenting with the writing method, so that one's not bad. I thought that was pretty good. So we'll have to see. I'm enjoying this chapter very much. I'm glad we got the other Falcons in there. It's gonna. I have the next chapter, the one that drops tomorrow or tonight at midnight, whatever. Um, I finished writing that, and it's really confusing. That's my biggest fear, is that people are gonna not like this chapter because like 5 of the characters are all just Falcon 1, Falcon 2, Falcon 3, Falcon 4, Falcon 5. It's gonna like I'm gonna hope people are gonna be able to like differentiate them on their own, like without like, this is confusing. They're all named Falcon. But I feel like I've described them enough where you can kind of associate the number in their name to which one of them they are. And I mean 3 and 4 aren't really that important. They're kind of interchangeable anyways. Um but no, I think the next chapter will be received pretty well. At least I hope it will. Yeah. Yep. Number 1's the leader, number 2's a sniper. 3 is the muscle, like the more physically strong one, and then 4 is like the tech guy, the communications operator, and that. So they all have something where they kind of stand out. Like they all have a different role in there. In the original team, Falcon 5 was like the stealth guy, so he would uh, do all the stealth missions and sneak around in that. So he worked well with Falcon 2, actually. Like they were good duo together. Like they would, well, if they split up, he would often split up with him. But no, yeah. I mean, it's hard to just like, because really the only way to like definitively separate them is like all visual stuff. Like each of their like visors are different colors, and they have like their numbers like on their shoulders. But it's a book, so unless I just come out and like talk about the number on their shoulder, or talk, or just randomly mention what color their mask is, like it's not going to be brought up that often. So you kind of just have to go off the numbers. I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. That was one thing that was cool about doing the streams, is like drawing out the characters on my tablet and like getting visual references, even for just myself. Because a lot of the times it's either like just what's vaguely in my head, or what is like the AI pictures I generated for like the database or whatever. But that's only like a loose approximation of what they look like. I basically just run it through the generator until it's like, yeah, that's close enough. That's a vague approximation of what they look like. So I'll just call that a day. Looks like we're up to four viewers now. Is Finch with us? Is Finch here? I think one of those is probably my brother spying on me, just like last time. Did you really? And you didn't share this with me? Why? Did you send it to my email and I just don't check it because that's the least checked email I have? No, okay. I need to see that like yesterday. That's awesome. Well, you should. You should drop them in the Discord in the fan art section. We got absolutely nothing going on in the fan art section. I meant to just like dump all of the drawings that I've received into that, and then I just never got around to it. Um, like that matters. If I'm sorry, like, I don't care how rough the sketch is or how, like, not, detailed it is, just like, you drew a character you drew characters from my book, I wanna see that. Hell, I'll scribble on a notepad and drop that in the Discord at some point. Hey, Finch is here. Yeah. Yeah, there we go, there we go. Stone the Hedgehog. Where did you get inspiration for Chris and Lloyd? Oh, well, first of all, welcome to the stream. I don't believe we've seen you before, but welcome. Um, I'll answer that question. Chris and Lloyd, I've always had like ideas for superheroes going in my mind since I was a kid. By the time I was in college, I'd created around 400 superheroes and about 200 villains. I don't know, something about them. They're just so interesting to me. Um, and then it was about like I want to say, yeah, like 2021, verge of 2022. I was hanging out with my friend Isaac, and I was like, I've been doing all these superheroes and stuff for so long. Like, I've never like made characters based off of me and you. Like, and I hang out with this guy always. So, like, I mean, I did when I was really, really young, but that was very like that was nothing. That's got nothing to do with the Chris and Lloyd universe. Um, but I was like, I don't have any that's like a one to one of me or you. I'm like, that's weird. I'm like, why don't I? And then that became Chris and Lloyd. He was Chris and I'm Lloyd. Um, and then I just started writing it from there. When I first started out on Quotev, I got kind of insecure about the superheroes and stuff. I didn't think that would really like portray well. I didn't think people would want to read something like that. So what I started doing is started writing like little short stories, using the characters from the universe and from the books, um, like keeping their names, keeping their what they look like, but like not giving them powers and just making them normal people and just like inserting the character into the story. Um, so I was like diluting all of my characters and all of my stories like that and like changing it for what I thought people would enjoy. And I mean, some of the stories were pretty good. Some were pretty popular on there. Um, but then when I came up with the Chris and Lloyd idea, I I just went, screw it. I'll write what I write, and then if people like it, then cool. If they don't, then whatever. Yeah, the Black Rabbit story. Um, that one's interesting because it was one of the like more diluted stories like that, but it kind of just turned into actual lore. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Um, Glad you're enjoying it. I'm really excited about this next chapter. It's going to kind of wrap up the Falcons episode here, and then the chapter after this next one is going to be kind of the like, well, glad that's over, kind of like wrap up chapter, and then we'll be starting something new. Um, Actually, the next episode here, um, that's happening after the Falcons ones, because I like to do it in a pattern. You'll notice if you haven't already, is that I'll do chap or episode about like an old character from the previous book coming back and doing something with them, and then after that it'll be new character that they get introduced to and then doing something with that, and then it'll be old and new, old and new, old and new, just kind of back and forth like that. And I like to keep up that pattern. So I actually had an idea for the next one like 3 weeks ago. I came up with this in the middle of the night, and I'm just like, man, that's such a cool idea, actually. And then so I decided like I wasn't planning on doing this next episode at all, and then I just thought like, man, that's pretty cool actually. So I'll just insert it right here. So if nothing actually comes from any of the events or characters in the next episode after the Falcons one, that's entirely my bad. I just thought it was cool and I'd slot it in, but I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be fun. But anyways, back to what I was saying. The Chris and Lloyd book took off. I was checking, I was doing absolute numbers with Chris and Lloyd Want Superpowers, and at one point it was the most popular comedy book on Quotev for a brief while, and I was like, man, that's really cool. That's really cool. And of course that went, that title never lasts long, but no, I'm super proud of myself for actually doing that, because I've been wanting to do something with all these characters in my head for so long, and and the day that I got the physical print of the book in my hands was one of the top 10 best days of my life, because it was just so cool to actually physically have something that I made like that, and that I've done with the characters. And now I got all you who are following the stories, reading the stories, loving the stories, and that's really awesome. So yeah, thank you guys. It's really cool having people who are actually interested in all the things that have been in my head for the past 15 years. Yeah, Snowdrop. Well, I'm glad you got that too. And hey, you did the artwork for World's Greatest Book Club, so I sent you one of that signed physically. And that was really cool as well. And that must be cool for you to have your art as the cover of a book you've been following forever. So I probably won't do the drawing tonight, but there is other stuff we can do. If anyone has questions about the current chapter or other books or whatever, drop them in the chat and I'll do a little Q&A. In the background, though, we can either do something with the database. I don't know if we want to go through them, and I'll give little tidbits of information extra outside of what's actually on there. If there's any more characters you want to know more about than what's just on the database or what's been in the book, if you want little more fleshing out of any of the characters on there, we can do that. Or if we wanted to do something more casual and less involved with the universe here, I do have all my stuff and some pretty cool stories that I got from that convention I went to last weekend, and that would be pretty cool to talk about. But it's I mean, it is quite literally my show here, but it's up to you guys. Whatever you guys want to do tonight. It's been on me because I've dropped off of streaming for a while, and it's been a minute. So if we want to go through more characters, or if we want to just chill out and talk, or do a Q&A or something, it's up to you guys. Yeah, I don't know if any of you were here that early besides Snowdroplet, but I had audio issues, so I had to restart the stream. And when I restarted the stream, the chat on my monitor is just it's a monkey with a hammer, and it says something went wrong. So I can't read the chat off my computer. So if I'm looking down here, or if I lean in like that, I have my phone propped up and I'm watching my own stream so I can keep track of the chat. Yeah, no, if you want to drop your own story in the Discord, that'd be cool too. Like I've had someone else who was following my Chris and Lloyd story who actually like started doing his own quote story, inspired by my book. I'm like, wow, that's really cool that, my stuff is inspiring others to do stuff. I'm like, that's even better than just being a fan and reading it. You gotta know, for sure when you're blowing it up big on Quotev, because I am now getting like comments under my story and especially emails. I probably shouldn't have put my email in my about section because I am getting hella messages and emails to be like, "Wow, I'm such a fan of your book. Uh please, hit me up and we can talk about like commissioning art." I'm like, "No. No, no, because I've been through this like 9 times. Because I look at the account and I go to their page and it was created like 3 hours ago, and they read like the first chapter and they're like, "Oh, I love it so much." I'm like, "You didn't read the first book. You didn't even read any more of this book. You're a scam." Third of all, I get so many of that. Like I open up my inbox on my special account that I made just for the Chris and Lloyd thing, and like I got like 4 different emails that all say the same thing. It's just like, "Oh, your creations truly inspire me. The way you describe scenes is incredibly done. I would be delighted to bring your stories to life through my art at very affordable rates." I'm like, "You did not read a single sentence of my book. Get out of my inbox." Well, yeah, because I'm always optimistic. So if somebody's like, "Wow, I really liked your book," like I'll be like, "Oh, thank you," because I want people to like my books, and that's really like nice and all of that. So and they're just like, like I want to assume the best in people, but then they always just jump straight to like, "Give me money and I'll draw stuff for you," and I'm like, "What? No." No, because you don't actually care about the book. You just want my money. Joke's on you. I don't have any. I don't know. I'm not hey, I'm not looking for it. I mean, yeah, I suppose yeah, you can email it to me in the email in my quotes have but, I mean, it sounds like Snowdroplet and Finch are interested to read too, so get yourself some more fans on the ground floor there. No, I've had like when I was writing Chris and Lloyd, like the first book, like I've had like 4 people reach out to me, and like it was super clear that they had not read like any of my books either. Like they just read like the first thing, and they're like, "Wow, you're so good. Can you like edit all of my book?" I'm like, "I'm not gonna edit all of your book, dude. Like I can give you like tips and like things to like do it better, but like I'm writing my own book. Like you can't just dump that on me." Like I get it, like, "Hey, give me like, look through it and like give me like notes or like what do you think or any suggestions or spelling mistakes or something." Like, yeah, I'm totally down for that. But like this lady wanted me to like just like she she wanted just to hire me as her editor for like actually no money. She's just like, "Can you edit like my entire story?" And I'm just like, "No." No, I'm editing my own story. What do you get off of me? Let's see. What else do I what other stories do I have? I don't know. Oh, there was Green. I don't know what happened to Green. Uh the person who did the they sent me fan art for Chris and Lloyd, like out of the blue, like completely like colored and drawn and everything. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then when I was done writing Chris and Lloyd and I was starting on the editing process, I hit him up and I was like, hey, cool opportunity. Do you want to can I use your fan art as the cover of my book? And they were like, yes, but no. They're like if you're gonna use it for the official cover of your printed book, I want to redo it and make it better. And I was like, fine by me if you want to do that. And so they sent me it over, and that's what's on the cover. I signed them and sent them a free copy in that. But when it came around to World's Greatest Book Club, they were still following that book. And Snowdroplet, not to insult your cover and all, it's beautiful. It's better than I hoped. But I went to them first and I was like, hey, would you be interested in doing the cover for this book too? And they were like, sure, yeah, let me know what you want it to be. Uh, yeah, no, I told you about this. I told you about this. I'm like, hey, this happened. Do you want to, do you want, jokes on them, all benefit to you. But no, Green asked me what do you want, and I was like, I gave him a brief kind of thing, I want them here's how I want them, here's the characters, is what they look like, can you do that? And he's like, yeah, sure. 3 months go by and I don't hear anything, and I'm just like, hey, planning to publish that soon. How's it coming? No response. I was like, okay. I hit him up a couple more times and still no response. And then I reached out to Snowdroplet and I'm like, hey, I'm in a real bad situation. The guy who said that they were going to do my book cover is not talking to me. Would you mind if I used the fan art you made as my book cover? And, thankfully you did. And that was awesome. And I love how it turned out. Well, I just had a thought. I got to pin that and then I got to come back to it. But and then I've just never heard from Green since. Never doesn't even read the stories anymore, doesn't comment anything. I'm like, okay, bye then. I mean, it's a good thing I didn't pay him in advance, or at all. So I don't know what happened there, but yeah, I know, right? I know. Green left good comments and was real supportive of the work, and that did super awesome art, RIP. But no, what I thought mid sentence is that I completely didn't tell anybody about this. I probably should have when I did it. But my local bookstore downtown did a kind of book fair, book walk kind of thing. Everyone just set up tables and booths and what are they called? The canopies or whatever, tent thing, what sat under, whatever. And local authors just sold their books on the sidewalk outside the store. And my mom does coloring books, adult coloring books, really intricate designs and that. And then of course I do my books. So we both went down there, and I I made out pretty good. You know, I sold like about, what was it, like 6 or 7 books. So, you know, not too terrible, but not, you know, not insane numbers. Those are pretty good. Snowdrop, but you'll be happy to hear World's Greatest Book Club was the bestseller that day. So a lot of people looked at the cover and they liked it and, you know, bought it. Like I broke it down for them. Like here's Chris and Lloyd. It's an action comedy. Here's World's Greatest Book Club. It's an action mystery. And then here's Renegades. It's an action drama kind of character thing. And then a lot of people went for book club. And I'm like, that's really cool. See, and that's why I like how I wrote these so far, because you don't have to buy Chris and Lloyd to read any of the other ones or vice versa. Like you could like just take your pick, whichever one's interesting for you. Like you get the whole story there. You're not going to be missing out on anything. And even if you are, it's more like a reference or like a, oh, I know who that is kind of from the other thing. Like I'm always very careful to like make sure that like if you didn't read the book that this is from, you can still like grasp what's happening. You know what I mean? Like I'll reintroduce a character. Like I'll describe a character when I'm reintroducing them. So people who don't know the character can be like, okay, going through all the descriptions, you know, this kind of hair, this kind of build, this kind of what they look like. And then the name drop, you know, like, oh, hey, Dimitri, nice to see you again. But people who have read the other book will like see the description, be like, oh, the goggles, you know, the soot on his face, you know, it's like that. I know who that is. I know who he's talking about. And then you get the, oh, hey, Dimitri, nice to meet you again. And then it's like, oh yeah. You know, so it works both ways for new and old readers. And you know, that I try to keep it that way. Because especially with like y'all know Marvel movies nowadays, you have so much homework. And if you didn't watch like Hulk from 2003, you're not gonna even understand what's happening in the new one. It's like, dude, come on. Like I want to make my books like how I make them, not like that, you know. So that's pretty cool. All right. So what do we want to do tonight? Yeah. Yeah, me too, actually. You know, I went and saw it, the new one, the Captain America. Wasn't impressed, and I I had no idea that you had to watch the Hulk from like 30 years ago beforehand. So, you know, I mean, I kind of got what was going on. I had Chris with me, so he was kind of just explaining everything. He's just like, "That's the guy from 20 years ago." I'm like, "Fantastic! Why is he here?" I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. What do I got we can do? Let's take a look. See here. Hmm. How do I set aside time to write? Oh, that's a dangerous question. Okay, so um I don't want to say most, but I do quite a bit of my writing while I'm at work because at my job a lot of it is just standing around, like just waiting for something to happen to do stuff. So a lot of my job involves just standing around and just not doing anything. So I will do most of the time what I do is I'll give myself, because I post a chapter midnight Friday. So I give myself Friday, Saturday, Sunday to just like, come down off of that and just chill. And then I will do like the outline bullet points on Monday, as well as like the first 2 or 3 paragraphs just to get me started. So I'm not just staring at a blank page. It's just like that. And then throughout Tuesday and Wednesday, I will just continue on with that and do that. I have like a couple of hours where I can just sit at my computer and just like write as much as I can. But unfortunately, most of that answer is I have a lot of free time at work. Is it more sporadic? Well, so the thing is I gave myself a deadline is midnight Friday. So I will allocate myself like Friday, Saturday, Sunday to just chill and just push it off till whenever. But no, I have like a couple hours on Wednesday after I get out of work where, like the timing is right, like it's dark enough outside. I'm very particular on when and how I write, because like I don't like writing during the daytime. It's better at night. I put on like a little lo-fi music or something. Like I can't have like a podcast or like actual songs like playing in the background, because my mind is gonna start like focusing on the lyrics or words or whatever. So I have to have like no lyrics. It can't be too loud. Like it's just got to be enough where it's not silent in the room. So like I just got to have like white noise kind of music, going on. Stone, I did see that. I did take a look at the email real quick. Uh, bro, Ben 10, you're talking to the number one Ben 10 guy here. So I will definitely be taking a look at that. I know more about Ben 10 than I probably should. That's how I met Isaac, the real life Chris, is that we were both really into Ben 10. So we started hanging out because of that. So that was really cool. Hardest thing about being a writer, it's the having a really good idea for a story. Like you can have a really good beginning and you can have a really good end goal, but it's the guts, the filling, the stuff in the middle, what connects the beginning to the end, is like how are you going to fill up like the space in between, that is like everything. So that's why it's really good to have the bullet points. So I want this to happen, and then this to happen, and then this to happen, and then this to happen. Um, I forgot who it was who said it, but there's like a writing quote that I heard somewhere, and it's really really good, and I like to keep it in mind. And this is especially good for when you're having like a mystery story with like a twist in it. Is write basically the story like the book, right? And then with the twist at the end, and then go back and write it like you knew from the beginning. Like you, I mean, obviously you knew from the beginning, but like write the story with the ending in mind. Like make it so that the whole thing kind of leads up to the end. And now I know you don't see it now, but I'm doing that right now. Like I'm leaving breadcrumbs throughout every single chapter that's leading up to the big reveal at the end of volume 1. Because there's that the secret superpower. Don't think I forgot about that. I know I haven't mentioned it in a while, but it will become very important, and you'll see the breadcrumbs. Like you'll be able to all the way back to Chris and Lloyd want superpowers. You'll be able to see the effects and the like everything leading up to it. It'll all click in place. You will go back and read both books with that knowledge in mind and seeing every single point throughout the stories of where that has come into effect and like fashion and such and furthermore. So that's cool. Yeah, Snowdropper, that's true. Cascade is based off of Ripjaws from Ben 10, and he's also based off of the Bone Sharks from Subnautica. It's kind of like a fusion there. I have a couple other ones that are subtly based off of Ben 10 characters as well, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. Finch, yeah, I'm sorry. I've been talking a lot, so I'm trying to catch up with the stream here or the chat. Yeah, it's not just good for essays, Finch. It's really good for stories because again, a lot of it is like I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to get it further to the end goal. So just like do the stepping stones. Like how do we get here? A, B, C, D, E, and then you fill in the rest later. Just branch it out. Snowdroplet, I honestly believe that if you look close enough, you could find it. Because I will tell you now, I try really, really hard. I don't know so much in Chris and Lloyd Want Superpowers, but definitely in Whip Hand and Valor Volume 1. I make it so that it's present in every episode. Like, not every chapter that I upload, but like every like chunk of adventure that they go on. That's kind of how I like ration it in my mind. Like chapter is like thing I published, episode is like the adventure for the time being. It's like a cartoon. But no, I left a plethora of breadcrumbs. So if you look close enough, it might start to be like terribly obvious. Because Isaac, he he knows what it is because I tortured him enough with it that I just had to tell him. And he's just like, "Come on, man, tell me." And I told him, and he's like, "That makes so much sense, and that's really good, actually." I asked him like is that bad? He's like, "No, that's great. That's great, actually. It makes so much sense." But so like, so every time that he reads the chapter and like it becomes apparent, he's just like, "Yep, there it is, and there's that. There it goes. Off with that." Like he points it out to me like as he's reading it, because like sometimes I'll have to remind him. I'll just be like, "Yo, dude, chapter dropped. You gotta read that." And he's like, "All right," and then he'll just pull out his phone and just read it right in front of me, and then just like laugh. Like in this, like I'm just like twiddling my thumbs as he's reading the chapter. He'll just like that, and then keep reading and whatever. So I'm there half the time he's reading it, and he makes little comments on what he likes, what he thought was funny. And he points out every single time the secret power is within. There's plenty, enough. There's plenty breadcrumbs. Don't worry. Oh, there we go. Maybe some theorizing in the Discord. It's a good idea. Might figure it out. Now, I'm not obligated, or I'm probably not going to confirm it if you guess it. I'll just be like, oh, that's a good idea. Could be, possibly. Even if it's right or wrong, I'll say that both at the same time. I won't be confirming anything at any conclusion you come to, but it's. I think it's going to work out well. I still need to finalize how they get to that realization because I think what I have planned out is a little bit weak. But that's why what Quotev is a rough draft. I'll be able to smooth that over in the you know actual physical novel of it when I publish it. Um, but that's quite a long ways away at the ending. I'm gonna have my fun and enjoy my time with Volume One here. I have so many like ideas for like adventures and episodes and that I forget that I'm planning like multiple volumes of this. And it's like, okay, some of these have to wait. Okay, like you can't like just do all of them here because then you're not gonna have any ideas for the other for the other books. And like, I don't know. I just want to write all of them, but I can't. I gotta wait. Certain revelations must be made, and some episodes will be better after they learn what their secret power is. And I'll tell you that right now, their secret power will be revealed by the end of Volume One. So you got that to look forward to. Well, I look forward to your alliance, you know, cracking the code of my novel universe here. How are we thinking on the new database? Is it good? It's a lot better to write it and do it like the interface wise. It's better for me as a creator than just typing it out on a Google Doc, and it's probably more accessible. Having all the like the drop down menus where all the heroes are categorized and alphabetical, and you can just click between them, and all their enemies, all their allies, and their friends being in there, so you can just like go from page to page linked in there. I think is really good. I want to like do more, but like I don't know how much. Like I'm also limited by the kinds of like information that they give me because it's very much like a limited thing here. Okay, good. As long as it's better than the Google Doc. I mean, the Google Doc was fine because it's all kind of just like in chronological order. Like you can just scroll through and it starts with Whip Hand and Valor, and then you go through like all the other good guys that they meet, and then you get all the bad guys that they meet exactly when they meet them and all that. But like it's so kind of unorganized as organized as it is, because I mean you want to get to the most recent thing, you got to scroll like all the way down to the bottom. Like it's sorted as oldest first. Yeah, no, I that's actually for me. That's more for me than it is for you. Because I have to like always check in the notes section here. Here, I'll actually screen share this. In the notes section here, we have heroes Lloyd mentioned in passing. And this is mostly for more than me, for me than it is for you, because I don't want to like forget that we've already established that Lloyd knows who these people are, and then when they show up in a chapter, and then Lloyd's like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And then I get some like nerd emoji pushing up their glasses, waving their finger. Actually, Lloyd mentioned him in like 3 books ago. Get your lore straight, idiot. And I'm like, okay. So this is basically just like me letting myself know that like if any of these characters shows up, Lloyd knows who they are. So like don't so Lloyd has to like recognize them. Oh, you see blackness? Oh, that's yeah, that's on my stream too. What the hell? There it is. There it is. It's back up. There we go. We fixed it. We fixed it. All right, let me watch this. No, so yeah, so it's fine. I don't know what the problem is. Do we want to do a breakdown of any of these characters here? I'll give you a little tidbits on who they all are. I'm gonna break it to you. I don't really have any plans for any of these characters to show up anytime soon. I would say probably the most likely to show up would be Metalbeak, Yellow Jacket, and maybe Trebleheart. When I first started putting together like ideas for books, I wanted Slash Track and Gunshell to have their own book. Just because I'd formed like a really awesome scene in my head with those two. But yeah, like I don't really have plans like specific storylines involving any of them at the moment. Oh, no. Like these are all like fully made characters like with I mean most of them these are all real characters. They have powers and designs and real names. Some of them don't have solid backstories yet, because I kind of just a lot of the times when I was creating heroes, I would just come up with oh, this would be a cool idea for a hero, and then just move on to another one. I wouldn't like flesh out their story or anything. But no, I did not just like spit out like random super sounding names or anything. Like these are all like when I did this chapter at the invention convention, I wanted to make this Lloyd prattling off superhero names as many as he can. I wanted to make that like real as possible. So I went through my list with okay, which one of these are like tech based and don't have any superpowers. They just rely on the technology they have. That one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. Like this is like at the time, this is like everyone who we either didn't already meet in the book or I don't want to like reveal yet. Like I left out a couple ones that was like, okay, like I want these characters to interact with them, but it's gonna be like a surprise. Lloyd's not gonna know about them, but I picked out as many as I can. These are all real, so I can go through these one by one. Freezer Burn is kind of an interesting one. So again, like these are all tech-based heroes. He has a gun weapon that's can switch between a freeze ray and a heat ray, and it was initially the prototype was actually designed because he was a culinary student and he worked with his roommate who was a tech development student to design a gadget that would be both a flash cooker and a flash freezer. So like say that you need something like frozen but you only have like 5 minutes to do it. Obviously it's not going to freeze in 5 minutes, so you grab the little thing, switch it to ice, and then it would be freeze. It would revolutionize the cooking world, as he said. And he was taking the device to go turn it in as a project or like, show it off or something. And on his way there was a mugging in the alleyway, and something inside him just bubbled up, and he used it to burn and freeze the muggers. And he felt so good about that. He's like, I think this is more like what I should be doing with my life. So he dropped out of the culinary school, and he worked with his roommate to further develop the weapon. And now it's like a full, like much better functioning freeze ray and slash flamethrower, basically. So there's not too much to his character. But I believe, like I brought him up again recently. No Man in the last episode had used his technology to reverse engineer a different weapon that he used while they were all trapped in their traps. Did the friend know what he was planning? Yeah. So his roommate was in on this. Like, he came home and told him all about like what happened in the alleyway. And because the prototype that he was bringing in, that was designed for like cooking, not for like fighting. So it wasn't anywhere near like the power level that it should be. So it was a lot weaker than what he has now. So they kind of work together to do this, and he's kind of like his guy in the chair type thing. Snowdroplet, I think they have more than that. I think they might have more than that. Unless you're talking about the movies. No, the comics, they have like thousands, I think. I don't know. And all of the Marvel Comics heroes are way better written than half of mine, because half of mine don't have any stories at all. Swiss Army Man doesn't have any backstory. He's got basically like, in those cartoons where there was like the scary guy with the eye patch, and he had like a hook hand, and he would like twist it off and like take something else and twist it on. It's kind of like that. He's got like these metal arms that he can like just like flick and switch out for blades or scissors or anything. Like, they all kind of just like and like change into whatever tool he needs for the specific moment. No, Snowdropper, you're good. You're good. Metalbeak. He's kind of like my universe's Iron Man. He's in a silver like bird themed metal suit. And it's got like little gadgets built into it. So he's got like missile batteries in his shoulders, so he can like fire them out as he needs to. He can fly really fast, obviously. His helmet's got like built-in like eagle vision, so he can see and zoom in from the sky. He's got like traction spikes on his boots for when he needs them. I probably mentioned Metalbeak once or twice before. He's kind of on the, like, if I split him up like my entire hero list into the into thirds, like top third is like designed to be popular, built in with backstory, going to be showing up in a lot of comics type things, like your Spider-Man, your Captain America, your Batman, your this, that, and the other thing. And then the middle third is like people like Freezer Burn, which I've fleshed them out a little bit. I gave them a little backstory and a personality and kind of know what they do and what they're about. And then the bottom third, which is basically I just came up with the idea for the character and I moved on and I have literally nothing. I would probably put Metal Beak in the top third. Like he's probably one of the more, impactful and probably more evenly represented throughout the universe here. I mean, he is like a celebrity genius inventor, so he's kind of like well known in universe. Like I'm pretty sure even Chris is aware of Metal Beak. Grid is one of those bottom third ones. I came up with a really good idea for a character and moved on. He has a helmet, and through the visor, everything he sees, it's laid out in a grid, like a XYZ axis grid. So, the example I always think of is pool, like playing pool. Like if he was playing pool down at the pool hall or whatever, he would be able to see the entire layout of the pool table, the angle of the pool cue, where the ball would go as he hit it. Like, so he would see the exact angle and amount of force he would need to bounce it off of whatever wall it was and the direction it would go. So, like, everything he sees is all laid out to the T and very specific and calculated. But that's pretty much all I have going for him. Aviator, he developed a flight suit. He's kind of a rival to Metal Beak, but not as popular, definitely. Flight is his only power, unfortunately. There's not a whole lot to him. He's one of the ones that I came up with, like, really, really early. So there's not a whole lot of depth to his character, and I hadn't really thought it out too much. Blades is a spy, and his thing is that he's got like it's kind of hard to explain. It's somewhere between a shield and armor on his arm, but it like there's a like long like bladed end that like retracts as he needs it. So it's kind of like Wolverine. Oh, what did I see? It was the if you saw like the I was either it was Infinity War, Marvel's Infinity War. Captain America had like new shields on his arms. He had two of them, like from the Wakanda, and they would have like a pointy end that would like jut out. They're kind of like those. Yeah, Floyd knows about him. It must be something. That's true. Yellow Jacket. Yellow Jacket's very prominent. Finch, if you remember one of the last streams we did, I told you about the actual physical comics that I tried writing for one of my hero teams. Yellow Jacket makes an appearance in one of them. He's how do I describe him? So he can fly. He's got like insect wings. And his main thing is that he invented the stinger device that he wears on his suit. And that it's actually the thing that controls the shrinking power that he has. He has the device on his, I don't want to say on his butt, but it's a stinger like for a Yellow Jacket, and it's we'll say on his lower back, but it's that's what controls the shrinking process of him for his shrinking powers. Yeah, his new black shields, that's right. So they're kind of like those for Blades. I'm going to be honest, I made Blades when I was in like 3rd grade when I was playing spies with my friends, and I just kind of never let go of the character. I just thought he was fun. Funny enough, he never used his like blades for like cutting or slicing or anything. he always used it for like deflecting and like ricocheting bullets and blasts and stuff. So they even though they were like full blades, he like only ever used them as like deflecting, as shields. Moving on, Deadstrike is going to be my archer stand-in here. You know, DC's got Green Arrow, Marvel has Hawkeye, Deadstrike is my bow and arrow man. You know, super accurate. Not really anything too impressive. I just needed a bow and arrow guy because every other comic has a bow and arrow guy. Panzerman, actually pretty cool. He's in this giant mech suit that's just absolutely loaded out with weaponry. Like he's got tons of missiles, he's got tons of like gunpowder, and he's even got like a full like tank cannon on his arm. And he's just a dude in a giant destroying machine. Not Trebleheart. I always have trouble with Trebleheart. So his story is very interesting, actually, because he's not quite right in the head. He's in a perpetual state of denial. He got into a really bad accident on like a train explosion, and he lost a lot of his limbs. And it was very traumatic for him. In the hospital, they had him outfitted with metal prosthetics, like, you know, cybernetic robot limbs. But he mentally refuses to acknowledge, like, even to like to the point where he's not fully aware of it, but he refuses to acknowledge that he's been outfitted with robot limbs. So he, like, in his mind and his heart, believes that he still has his original limbs and that nothing happened and that he's totally fine. He's the team that he's on. He's convinced because he's got like robot limbs. He's got, you know, like increased durability. You know, they can like deflect bullets. They're really strong. And they got super strength with them because of like the hydraulics in them. He's convinced that he's gotten just those powers naturally. Like he just gained those superpowers, and it has nothing to do with the limbs he has. Yeah, Deadstrike, he's the bow and arrow guy. I literally put no other thought into this character. I have a good bow and arrow guy, that's Deadstrike, and I have an evil bow and arrow guy, and that's Bowshock. And that's it. That's really all there is to their characters. My problem with Trebleheart is I never know what to do with him. Because he's such a fun and like energetic character, and he's got that tinge of like not quite right in the head where he like he will absolutely deny that he's like a cyborg now. Like he's people just be like, "Oh, what happened?" And he'd just be like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Were you in some accident or something?" He's like, "Not that I recall. What? Why do you ask?" And then he's like, "Because of your prosthetics." And he's like, "The what?" And like basically like everyone else on his team is just like letting him live this fantasy, which probably isn't good for him mentally. But they will literally just like, don't talk about that. Don't mention that. It's like taboo to bring it up. Yeah, exactly. He thinks he just gained like super strength or something, and he doesn't remember how. But like it's, you have cybernetics, like metal body parts. There was a time where I was planning on, like, I made all these characters, and like not all of them can live forever. So I was trying to come up with like, okay, who can I develop ways to kill the characters? Like how would this character die? And for Trebleheart, it was like I could never nail it down or something, but he would like do something or touch something that would have been fine if it was normal limbs, but because that his arms and legs are metal, it like reacts to it. So it was either like electricity or like something, but like because his metal arms and that he refuses or like can't mentally process that his arms and legs are metal now, that he just like grabs something and then it just kills him. Snowdrop, but I need to clarify. Hard as in difficult or hard as in awesome? Because like, because I mean, kind of both actually. Because it's got to be it's got to be very difficult for him and his teammates to live through. But also that's kind of really I'm kind of proud of that like aspect is doing that. Or are you meant like that's so hard as in like trying to kill off my characters, because that as well is very hard. Yeah. Like I have a lot of characters that I'm like I have so few characters where I actually have like their deaths planned out. Like I could probably count them both on like 10 fingers here. Like one of them is one of the people on Gauntlet's team, and this is like far in the future. Like I don't have plans of like I'm still struggling on where to introduce Gauntlet's team, let alone like get them to the point where we can get invested in the character enough to kill them off impactfully. So let me just dive into that. There's one character on Gauntlet's team called the Cold Shoulder, and his story is that he was running an experiment on cryogenics, like freezing himself. He was going to freeze himself for the future. But 2 days into it, there was something wrong, and they had to stop the experiment and take him out right away. But something with the air, something with the chemicals, they don't exactly know why. The ice on his like bottom of his neck down to his arm, like all on his entire arm, is like locked in and encased in ice, and it won't melt. Like it's just stuck on there, no matter how hot they make it. No, they put fire up to it, and it won't melt. Like it's hard frozen onto him. And a couple days after trying to experiment with it and try to cure him of that, his frozen fingers start moving. So he's able to like move his frozen arm, like the ice is like bonding to him, like down to his like DNA, and he becomes able to like freeze things, and he's got like a cold aura around him. So if any liquid like gets too close to him, it'll freeze. Like he's just got like an AOE area of effect for like freezing. So I planned out this scene where they're coming back from a really, really difficult mission in an airplane, like a private plane or something. And something goes wrong, like they get shot at or they get blown out of the sky or whatever. Plane tilts and he falls out of the plane, and they're over an ocean. And this is going to get pretty graphic, but I think it's really cool, even though I really like the character. But they're over an ocean, and he's got that area of freezing. So as he's falling, like inches above the water, it instantly freezes over and turns into a rock solid sheet of ice that he splatters against. And I thought that's one of the most terrible, gruesome, and totally unfair deaths, because the height that he was at was probably survivable if he were to just like splat, like dive into the water or anything. But because that like anything in a certain distance from him will start to freeze, the water immediately freezes over, and he just splats against it, and it's really bad. I mean, of course I plan to bring him back to life at some point somehow because that's what comic books do. But I thought that was a really gruesome and surprisingly well written for my age way to kill off a guy with ice powers. Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, I sorry to bring out the mood here. But no, so I do have plans to kill certain characters in certain ways. However, I do have the problem with introducing them into the books first. Here, let's see if I can speed run through a couple of these. Know How. I'm surprised I didn't think to include Know How yet. Because he has a helmet. A lot of these guys just have helmets. He has a helmet that he's kind of like Grid, but it's more specific. Anything that like any task he's trying to accomplish or thing he's trying to make, the instructions appear on the pop-up screen, like on his visor on his HUD, and he can see like exactly like if he's trying to make like a really complicated dish, like it will highlight like which spice to grab or which ingredient to add and how much and how to do it, and like, or like if he's trying to fix like something he's never seen before, like all the little things are going to be highlighted and he's going to like see exactly how to do it and what to do and what things do and how they work. And it's really cool, and I'm surprised that I haven't added him yet because the helmet itself is made by Allware. That's actually where Allware started, is because of Know How, and I needed like, who would make? I need a company that made this for him, and I came up with the name Allware. So Allware originally started from Know How, and me needing someone to create such a helmet. Yeah, pretty much. Hey Siri, how do I do this? Yeah, so that's where Allware came from. That's how I developed the well, not the name, but like the idea for a company that makes things. Vocula, he has a no. Why did I put Vocula in there? I must have. Vocula is absolutely one of the ones who's in the bottom third where I just created the character and moved on. He has a suit that lets him like glide through the air. It's like a high-tech glide suit or something. And I'm so disappointed. I completely forgot the second part of his powers. Because he has like a sonic screech, like a sound wave yell, like Knuckle kind of does. And I have no idea whether that part is like biological powers or if he also has a device that lets him do that somehow. I completely forget. But he's really not important, and I highly doubt we'll ever see him, even if anything. Yeah, I agree. Ejecta, she has gauntlets that send out like shock waves through them, and she uses that to like ground pound, and it sends like all the rocks and debris like flying outward. Here, I'll say Flash Flood for last. Skeleton Man is something of controversy because everyone I've told about Skeleton Man thinks he's completely stupid, but I thought it was such a cool idea. Like, I'm the only one who thought Skeleton Man was a good idea. Yeah, Vocula is kind of like Banshee, but like but he's more like his like flight and glide abilities are more tech based. And it might be the suit itself that lets him do that. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. Volcula came to me in a dream, and I didn't really quite think it through logically. I just kind of like wrote down like what happened. Does she wield shrapnel? I mean, she probably should, but she would. She's like pretty hated in universe as a hero because her powers are very destructive at taxpayer expense. Because really the shockwaves of that just kind of just like explodes whatever she's like punching. So again, she'll use it to like pound against the ground, and it'll just like shoot out like all the debris like forward as an attack here. Yeah. I don't know. Again, like I kind of got her a little bit more fleshed out. Like honestly, I just learned the word ejecta and I thought that sounded really cool, so I just kind of based her character off of that. And again, bottom third character, I have no plans to do anything with her. She might show up as like a background character, side character, or she would be like these lower third characters and some of the like middle thirds. I'm probably going to just throw them in on a team with Chris and Lloyd at some point. Like, Chris, Lloyd, you're paired up with, you know, Yellow Jacket and Ejecta. Go head out and do this, and then that's how they do that. Because honestly, I didn't really have any plans with Candle Wax either. I've never really had a full story for him. In fact, I didn't even really come up with his origin story until prepping for Volume 1. Like, I just kind of needed something. Oh my god, I completely forgot about Techwing. I skipped over Techwing. He's another inventor. He invented his own like set of mechanical like wings. But his thing is that he controls them. Like he has the controller for it like in his hands, and he's constantly like adjusting and like messing with it. Like he can't like just like shoot out the wings and then start flying. He's got to like type in everything and like make sure all the levels are fine and then launch and then he's got like a joystick or buttons to like control how he flies. So it's a bit more like a complicated version of like a lot of the other flying characters. But I thought like that specifically, like adding a difficulty and caveat to his flight powers would be interesting. So back to the bottom here. Skeleton Man. Again, I'm the only one so far who thinks this is a good idea. Everyone else has told me it's stupid, but I kind of like it. So, if you aren't familiar, there's a sport called the skeleton, and it's where I believe it's a winter sport. You lay down on this specialized sled, and you lay down on your stomach head first, and you go like flying down this ramp. It's kind of like a bobsled, but it's a single person lying on their stomach, going downhill head first, and that's how you do that. So my idea was to have a hero utilizing a new high-tech specialized suit designed for that sport, where it would use anti-gravity technology so that he could hover like the regulation height off the ground, and would totally remove the need for a sled. So he lies down head first, and he would be able to like zoom down the road at like racing speeds, just like hovering like 5 to 6 inches above the ground the whole time and just going like that. He's very his move set would mainly be like agility and endurance and speed related. Um, but and of course, being called the skeleton, the suit looks like a like glowing black and blue skeleton. Um, but no, I've told that to like 3 different people, and yeah, exactly. So it's like it reduces like all the friction of the sled. It like there's nothing to like counteract the speed. Like it's all pure like movement and momentum. So he uses that to like he'll literally just like start running and then just like swan dive onto the ground and then just take off, zooming down the street like wherever he's needed. Yeah, see, I thought that was cool, and he's just and everyone I tell the character to, they just think it's goofy having some dude like lying on his stomach head first, just flying down the road at like 6 feet. Oh, he can fly, but like only a little bit off the ground. I'm like, no, it's about like the movement speed and like, because shut up, guy I told this to. And then Flash Flood will be the last one out of this list. And probably the one that's the most connected to the story so far. And it's oh yeah, most definitely. He's definitely among the see. There are kind of like hierarchies and like social groupings within the superheroes in the world. Like there are heroes that other heroes will just be like, that guy sucks. Okay, like I have one character called Jamboree who I plan to utilize in the future, so you will see him at some point. And he calls himself the Human Firework, and he's got like metal wings that he made at home that he straps fireworks onto. And he's got like Roman candles like strapped to his arm so he can like shoot out like firework blasts at him. Um, and everyone thinks he's just a loser. Like he's so enthusiastic to be a superhero, but he's so not good at it. And like his powers basically just amount to like pointing a flare gun at somebody in like the least manageable and helpful way possible. And then you got people like Cass X, who are also just shunned by the major superhero community. But yeah, Skeleton Man would definitely be amongst the ones who are looked down upon. All right, Flash Flood, the one who's probably out of this list the most connected to the universe so far. We all recall the Renegades. We all recall Tech, and how there was that huge explosion in the development department. Magnet Man got away with one of the units that they had developed, and there were several other units in there. Um, let me hold up. One second, because I want to get the numbers right here. Okay, so of the 10 units, we have the neuromagnets that Magnet Man stole. There were those 2 pistols in there that were talked about. Um, a lot of them were destroyed, but only one of them was actually salvaged from the wreckage, and it was called the Desert Hydrant, and that's what Flash Flood has. It is a device on his back that connects to a high power hose, and what it does is that there's actually a spatial portal inside the backpack part that is linked to 4 different spots. And the other end of the portal opens up underwater somewhere. So there is one in a freshwater lake, one in a saltwater ocean, one in the Arctic Ocean, and one that he specifically placed in Flint, Michigan. And he doesn't use that one very often. But the point being is that so he can open up the portals, and he has access to almost infinite, but like basically limitless amounts of water that he can spray out at high pressures. So he does a lot of like firefighting work. He does a lot of like, a lot of other battles where water would come in handy. But he can switch the portal between any of those. So he can do salt water for just like, basic, water attacks, or for anything that would need specifically salt water. Fresh water for if, it needs to be like, drank. Like if they're in the desert and they need like some drinking water, he can spout that out. I suppose a freshwater lake wouldn't be the best, but anything where salt water wouldn't work, he's got the option between that. He's got it in the polar waters, so that having the cold water, the naturally cold water, would be helpful in any way. And then he's got the Flint, Michigan one if he really wants to just, add like a poison status effect on top of that. So that was the only one of the units that actually survived the blast that wasn't stolen by somebody else. But a lot of the other ones were destroyed for sure. So some of them we might not never know what they are, but a lot of them, don't worry. The ones that were either stolen or did survive will come back to be seen again in the future. So again, Flash Flood's probably the one that's most connected to the story so far, and that's just because of his connection to Tactec and the explosion that we saw in Renegades. More than you think, actually, more than you think, because I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. Item Finder, the guy with the portal to who steals stuff that's been just lost to time. He managed to get in there last second and take maybe 1, maybe 2, undecided so far. He managed to take some of them for himself. He's got them on display in his little the collector, in his little like pocket dimension collection for himself there. Let's hope not. So that's all the ones that Lloyd prattled off at the invention convention. Man, that was long. But then we have the hero duos that were mentioned while Lloyd was talking to Vanish, saying, we're going to be the best duo ever. And then Vanish is like, oh, what about Nearsight and Farsight? Yeah, better than them. Nearsight and Farsight, I believe they were either The idea for them was suggested to me by a friend of mine. He came up with the names Nearsight and Farsight, but I developed them into actual characters. Um, Farsight, they're twin brothers. Uh, they're twin brothers. Um, Dick and Dirk. I forget their Blackwood. I forget their last name. But Farsight is the bigger, stronger of the two. And he has like long range vision, so you can see like very very far away or very very high up. He can see very accurately, and he's got eagle wings, so he uses that to fly. And then his brother Nearsight has microvision, so he can like see very very like down low and like very like minutely. So he, like very very detailed sight. Like he can like his eyes become microscopes. He can see that much. And he's got this nearly indestructible like turtle shell on his back. And they work together as Nearsight will like climb onto Farsight's back and like wrap around his shoulders like this and hang on like a backpack. So they will fly through the air, and his back is 100% like protected by his brother's shell. So they kind of work together like that. Like I see the big stuff and far stuff, you see the small stuff and up close and that, and then we work as offense because he's got the flight, the strength, and I think he's even got like claws or something, like fake ones. That he's not like a mutant. So he does the fighting. He's the Farsight is the offense, Nearsight's the defense, and they work in balance very well together. Handprint and Footmark really only work together because they're on theme and because they're friends before they got powers. Handprint has the ability to, I don't want to say permanent, but like he has the ability to like seal. Like he's got sticky hands. I don't want to call him sticky hands, but he has the power to basically just like seal his hands to any surface. So like they're not gonna be able to like let go or fall off unless he wants them to. And he uses that to like climb walls, or he also partners up with another hero called Vertica, and she has the ability to launch anything she touches like high up into the air really quick. So he'll work with her to like do like a super boost and launch him up into the air, and then he'll use his powers to like stick onto the side of a building or something. And then Footmark is really really interesting. Like his powers are always difficult for me to explain. They're best seen rather than described. But he has kind of like an after image. You know what I mean? Like when like in cartoons when someone's running really fast and you have like multiple like faded duplicates of them like following in their trail. But as he's running, each of his after images is physical. So if he's like running and they're following exactly behind him and he reels in and punches a guy, each one of the after images is going to also follow through with a actual physical punch as well. And then when he comes to a stop, they all just kind of like merge back into him. So his powers and Handprint's powers don't really like complement each other at all, but they are friends and they got like the hand and foot kind of duality to them. And then the last one here, if you recall, this is the one that Vanish brought up, Slashtrack and Gunshell, and Lloyd had to like bite his tongue and stop himself from immediately saying yes, better than them. And he tried to back out by saying, "I heard they got a third guy now," and then Vanish is like, "No, they don't." So, Slashtrack is another speedster, so he's got super speed, but he also has blades like the Assassin's Creed ones where they're like under his wrists. So he can like slash and cut as at like super speeds. So he's very very quick and very very dangerous. But then his partner Gunshell is like this giant hulking machine with like crazy crazy super strength. And he moves kind of slow, but he's really really powerful. His metal is completely indestructible, so everything will just bounce right off of him. Won't even dent him. And he's just got the most explosive punches. So you got like the fast and sharp with the like slow and like blunt strength. So speed and blades mixed with strength and like blunt force, and durability, of course. So those two are like kind of an opposites attract kind of thing, just like Nearsight and Farsight, where like it's Nearsight and Farsight are more of like a heads and tails, two sides of the same coin kind of thing, like a yin and yang type, like where they won't really like work well without each other. Like they kind of need each other to work in balance. Whereas Slash Track and Gunshell kind of have like a they're good on their own, like solo, um but they kind of have like a diversity of attack range. Like if they need like something strong, you have Gunshell, or if you need something fast, you have him. If you need to cut through something really quick, you have Slash Track. If you need to knock something over or break through a wall, you have Gunshell. So they kind of have their own areas of specialties where they can be quite versatile. And those two are probably the most likely to appear somewhere in the story. Yeah, and then you have Whip Hand and Valor, the real goats of the hero duos. There's Whip Hand and Valor, of course, everyone knows that. Um, Backup and Respite, hate those guys. Prepare to see a lot more of Brian and Topher, the kind of snarky rivals that you saw in the beginning of the No Man episode. Those guys will kind of take on the role of the rivals with Chris and Lloyd. Like they're kind of just like, oh, those guys think they're better than us. Like even though they're on the same side and both trying to do good and stuff, they're kind of just like, man, I can't stand those guys. And the bad thing is that they're really good at their jobs. Like they're really efficient and really good with their powers, but like they just like they're just so cocky and like mean and that. But I actually made Backup's name Topher to be like Chris's opposite, because in the name, because they're both of them, their names are Christopher, but Chris goes by Chris and he goes by Topher, so it's like the other side of his name. Even that's called subtlety in the writing business. It's called thematics. All right, let's see what we at. Whoa, we've been going at a strong hour and 43 minutes. Yeah. Also, Topher, it's one of those names. I mean, it's not like everybody named Topher is like a a jerk, but like a lot of them are. And I don't mean real life, of course. I've never met a single Topher in my life, but like you like think cartoons or like movies or something. Topher is always like the bully or like some a-hole on the football team or something, that kind of guy. It's just it's a name with a lot of negative attachments to it, so it's really good for the character. Wow. Well, this went We actually got a lot more done tonight than I thought we were going to. Because I'm gonna be honest, without the drawings and stuff, I didn't know what we were gonna do tonight. But this ended up being pretty good. It's true. It's true. So we're probably gonna wrap it up here. This went on a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Super glad you guys decided to join in. Hey, we even got a third. That's a record for us. That's a record. I'll keep updating the database as it goes on. We'll have the next chapter tonight at midnight. So some people like to stay up and read it right when it comes out. I don't know if that's you or if you like to, save it for another time when you got off, but we yeah, so it's really cool. Again the chapter that's dropping at midnight. It's the second to last chapter for the episode. It's the kind of like, oh, this is the end, the resolution, and then the one next week will be the kind of like, tying up loose ends, like the who glad that's over kind of, the conclusion, the ending paragraph of the essay, if you will. But it'll be fun. I think a lot of cool energy went into this this episode here. So I'm hoping the next chapter goes over well. So get excited for that. Thank you for joining us for the stream. It's fun getting back into this again. It's been a while. I don't know when the next one's gonna be, but if you hit up the Discord every other Thursday or something. Usually it's every other Thursday that I'm free, at least like when because I have stuff going on the opposite Thursdays and stuff, but I never know like what else I'm got going on in the day. But if I don't have plans, just hit me up on a Thursday. If I got nothing else going on, I'll see if we can do a stream or something. Yes, please do. I am always excited to see any fan art. I'm gonna comb through all the files I got, and I'm also gonna drop those in the fan art as well. Yes, you mentioned they were really rough. I can. I don't care. That's fine. Like, hey, anything that comes out of, inspiration from my books is going to be good. Doesn't matter how rough they are. I've drawn drawings that are plenty rough. There was that one night. Night with me and Finch where I just showed off all of the like old art that I had like from when I was a kid, when it was just really bad and really, really terrible ideas. And we made a night of it. It was fun, but like still, yeah, no, I'd love to look at that. Like, no matter how rough they are, it still was inspired by my work. So it'll make my heart happy, Hi, here's awesome. No, you don't gotta lie. No, a lot of those drawings I did like eons ago were really bad. The little monster guy made entirely out of aluminum. Terrible idea. If I could just rip out that page, I would. But that's history now. It's really bad. Oh, you took screenshots. Great. It's bad enough that the replay is already on my channel. Yeah, if you want to look at the replay and see those again, unfortunately, you can still do that. But But I did it, so it's out there. It's out there. Maybe one of these days I'll find the courage to break out the comics I made. It's not going to be any hero you'll recognize. Well, that's kind of a lie. Well, no, it's not. You won't recognize any of the heroes, but the villains, yeah. The first issue I did, these comics were before I learned how to make a proper narrative structure, so the plot and story is all over the place and doesn't make any sense coherently. But the villain in the first one is No Man, and then one of the villains in the second one is Jasper, and I didn't even finish that one, so I could possibly be talked into breaking out those comics. I'd rather not, but I could be talked into it if we really need to find something to do during a stream. But it is now officially 8 o'clock. We've been running for almost 2 hours straight. I hope you guys had a really good time. I had fun doing this. Hopefully we can do it sometime again soon. I don't know when that'll be, but we'll have to come back to that. But yeah, hope you guys have fun and enjoy the next chapter. So I will see you next time. Bye-bye.